Hey, everybody. This is Josh, and I know it's been a while. I know Brian a few weeks ago had his own solo episode, and I was going to riff off that kind of episode and what he did. But I really just wanted to take a few minutes. I think this is going to be a much shorter episode than we're used to having, but I think I want to take a few minutes just to talk to everybody because I am actually here back at my house. And I know I've been getting a lot of questions. I've been getting a lot of just personal questions, emails, stuff like that. I know Brian doesn't get as many of these, especially when it doesn't involve him. So, what's going on? But let's just take a moment and reflect back on everything that's happened over the last year and how we got up to this point and how we're back. Okay, everybody. So this is Josh. Obviously, this is a Curiosity Continuum. You are listening to it. So I just wanted to take a little more informal approach like I normally do in my solo episodes. I know Brian likes to, I call it the rhythm and roll. He just likes to say everything all the time just to stay consistent. However, I do like sometimes these little get-togethers, like little talks that we just do. I would almost call them like our little just like fireside chat is what I'm trying to get here. So I just want to take this moment to thank everybody who has reached out to my wife and I over the last 12 months, because about 11, almost 12, well, we're in September, and September 28th is when Hurricane Ian came and displaced us from our home. So we had a tree that fell through our home, just to catch everybody up, and our house became uninhabitable. So Brian really mobilized a lot of resources for us, and there was other people that helped too, but Brian really helped, and he got us going back. And then we dealt with insurance, we dealt with all that stuff. We took all the money that we had, pretty much all the money that we had, and all the money with insurance, and we put it all together, and we fixed our house up. So our house is absolutely better than ever. And if you hear a little echo in the recording, it's because I'm actually recording in the same room I used to record in, which was, which always got had a ton of soft surfaces, now has very little soft surfaces. So, and I know that a lot of you saw that before or asked about like my retro game collection. That was pretty much unscathed. So, it's probably a collection worth about $200,000 that I have amassed over the years that I was able to pretty much save the whole thing. So I've got that saved, and now I'm back in the same room trying to figure out how to put all this stuff back together. And I want another like touch point for people. It is difficult to all of a sudden move from your house that you lived in for, 8+ years, move into someplace totally different. And we were living with in-laws, which is okay, but we were there. And then, you fix your house, you get all that, and everybody kind of forgets about you, or a lot of people do forget. And I wanted to take this opportunity to say the people who didn't forget, those are the people that I know everyone cares, but those are the people who know that things happen in sequences. And so this episode is going to be more about the sequencing of things and how we sequence stuff. And that's kind of like my forte in a lot of ways, a lot of my strength. So we were sequencing all these house repairs. We got all this done. And then, it was all done. And I told my mother-in-law, like, oh, hey, we're moving back to the house on Friday of Labor Day weekend. She's like, oh, that's great. Aren't you happy? And I said, yes, I'm very happy. However, this is a whole nother conundrum now and a whole nother sequence of events. So I'll tell you what, moving back to a house you've already lived in and still had most of your stuff in is almost harder than just moving to a new house, because I had to pack this stuff, move it to either an area of the house that wasn't damaged or another area of another house. And then when it was fixed, put it all back and put it back in a way that makes sense. And so I'm trying to remember like, oh, what's in this bin? What's in that bin? So things are very discombobulated. Things are working. And I know there's been a lot of frustration, I think, with everybody that I have not been like, oh, I'm just back and I'm good. And I think it's a process. And I think that's what the sequence of events we need to talk about are. They're processes and things that we do in life. Like there's a lot of things we do. We get up in the morning, we do our routine, we go to work, we come back home, we do our nighttime routine. Depending on the day or the time of year, you might have different things going on. Like, oh, I've got, my kid has, this sport going on, or I have this show I want to catch up on, or I'm home from work and I've got to record this podcast because Brian and I do this on our free time, quote unquote, that we really believe in it. And so we want to just, keep doing it. And we have to do it on those times because we still have to survive. We still have to live. So the processes, the sequence of events is very important. And so, like I said, I think it's going to be a shorter episode because I want people just to know, like, number one, I'm good. My wife and I are back in our house and we are sequencing the events to get back to even better than we were before the storm happened a year ago. However, it's a process and it's not an instant process, and it requires a lot of effort on your part because it's a lot of you going into it. So I want people to think about that. What are the processes in your life that maybe you can tweak or that you do every day or even every week or every month, or would you have a yearly cadence or a weekly cadence or a monthly cadence or a daily cadence? And what are those processes? And what's the context of them? And how are you managing that? And how are you getting through that? I don't want to become too introspective, but I think that this is a pretty good place to leave it. Please let me know if you guys want to hear more on this topic, because I think this is a good contextual awareness topic. And this is the number one thing that Brian and I talk about. So until next time. This is Josh for Curiosity Continuum.